We are live.
Are we live?
You are live.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I want to say hello, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcoming it in the 2022. Okay, so no. Okay, hold on, everybody. Just figuring out it opened up a new Facebook screen, so I'm gonna close this up, so I don't have to listen to ourselves. Just gonna close this up. All right. So Stacey.
Yes.
Everybody meet Stacey Kinoshita.
Hi.
She has been my friend for since what 2017,
For a while, yeah.
about 2017, and we met through political events, and we've always wanted to do business together. And let me close up some of these screens here. I'm just doing some cleaning house while we talk, but basically, we want to welcome everybody to 2022. And Stacey Kinoshita and I are thinking about we are in the process of putting together a new podcast concept. And one of our concepts is, since both of us work with entrepreneurs, small business owners, and so forth, we thought we would talk about business topics that really make a solid business impact to the community, whether it's community to your end user and client, or to help optimize entrepreneurs and grow their businesses, because that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that everybody's successful, and we see ways to tweak businesses and so forth. So
But what I want to share is that, we're not just coming from a theoretical point of view. We both have been business owners. We're both entrepreneurs. And so we know what it's like to be in the trenches with businesses, and the challenges that they face, especially running a business in California.
yeah.
That has its own set of challenges. So what we bring to the table is our experience, but also our heart in providing resources for business owners and entrepreneurs to be really successful in what they do. Isn't that
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And what we're seeing here, what we're doing here is we're showing you the live concept of it. But in the future, you're going to see the exact same show, and we're just going to clean it up a little, and we're going to be it'll be in bite-sized pieces.
Right.
So what you see now is basically our content right now, but it's going to be massaged, and it's going to be cleaned up. So it's going to be a lot different. It's going to be a lot more dynamic. It's going to be a lot more fun, and we're going to be using a lot of graphics and so forth. But we just want to give you the raw content, and we'll see where this goes. So so basically, we're going to talk about our first show concept, and our first episode, we're going to be talking about the 8 biggest business trends in 2020. And we're kind of basing this on one of the articles that we found from Forbes magazine, of all things. And so let's get into it, and let's look at the top 8 trends to look out for in 2022. So Stacey, what's the number one trend that we as a business committee should be looking at?
Well, these may not be necessarily in order of importance, but according to the article, the number one trend is sustainable, resilient operations. And so what they're looking at is really businesses decarbonizing their supply chain, just really structuring themselves so they're more eco-friendly. And so the question is that how does that look for larger businesses, and how does that look for this mid to small size business? And what are your thoughts on that?
Uh, oh, I didn't hear a word you said just now, just because I was looking at something else. But can you start all over and I apologize. Take 2, screwed up already.
No problem. Okay, so trend number 1 is about sustainable, resilient operations. And really, when you break it down to what that article is, what that trend is businesses really decarbonizing their supply chain and being finding ways to be more eco-friendly, finding ways to not make a large carbon footprint on the world. And so really when you look at this, the different sizes of business, that looks different from the large business owner versus the mid-size and the small business owner. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think, as the community becomes more aware of their surroundings and the environment, we all, as, whatever political party you stand on, we all want cleaner air, fresher water, and so forth. And we want to see, uh, things move fast at the same time. We want to see businesses thrive. So businesses, whether you're big or small, have to really look at how they deliver products and how they make it faster, how they make it efficient. And, once we can do that and show the business community as well as the consumer that it is cleaner, that we are efficient, that we are looking towards the environment, a lot more product can be sold. And I think the key is articulation. We need to articulate that message. And
I agree. I
so
agree. I
and
know there are,
go ahead.
no. There are a lot of eco-friendly companies out there, but the community, may not know it because they aren't articulating. They may assume that the consumer understands that they are eco-friendly. But I think, like you say, the key is really communicating with the consumer about their goals, about just really leaving a lighter footprint and just being sensitive about the environment without compromising their ability to be profitable. So
Yeah, to add to that, I think for the most part, businesses, they want to be efficient. They don't want to do any waste. And, the more that they can save, the less waste they produce, it'll show on the bottom line. And I really think that's what it is. The consumer just has to realize that, it's the role of a business to optimize. So, businesses, theoretically, businesses are as eco-friendly as possible. It's just, the consumer just has to realize that's what we really strive for. We don't always hit it, but it's all trial and error. We need to learn somewhere.
I agree. And so we know that that's going to be the focus, one of the focuses in 2020, 22 for a lot of business owners. I'm curious to see how a lot of the companies actually carry out this principle. So it's to be seen. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see next year. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. So let's go to trend number 2. Stacey, take it away.
all right. Trend number 2, the balance between human workers and intelligent robots. We have been talking about AIs taking over the world for the last, couple decades. And one of the biggest fears was just robots taking over human jobs. Okay, what are your thoughts, Edwin?
Yeah, you know what? I think it goes back to efficiency. I think bottom line, companies want to be more efficient, and workers, they want to, they want to optimize their output as best as possible. So, I think one way to do that is using technology. And we're seeing, intelligent robots flipping burgers. We're seeing intelligent robots making cars. And now,
Right.
looking at the different services, we're seeing companies use AI and intelligence to do a lot of their marketing. I work with a company, and I'm automating our sales process where I don't have to use as much manpower. I don't have to
Right.
hire telemarketers to do this or to write this copy and so forth. So I think we're seeing it not only on the manufacturer side, but we're also seeing it on the service side. And I think that's just going to be better for the overall consumer because prices are going to go down because they can get their cost at a reasonable pace. Wouldn't you agree?
You know what I do, and I think one of the questions is how do we find the balance between intelligent machines and human intelligence? And I think it's going to vary within different industries. How do you incorporate both the human and the robotic aspect of it? I guess with companies and industries having to adapt with all the changes with COVID and whatnot, some of them may have already been, started to think outside the box and be creative in integrating, AI intelligence and human intelligence. So I guess we'll see how it transforms by the end of 2022. So.
Yeah, and that goes into trend number 3, the shifting talent pool and changing employee experience. The way we work is evolving with more younger people entering the workforce, more gig workers, and more remote workers. So your thoughts about the shifting talent pool and the changing employee experience?
I think change is inevitable. If your business is not growing, it's dying. And if you can't adapt, businesses die. Look at the businesses that were around when our grandparents were, when they were kids, and now they're no longer able to keep up with the changes in the economy. I think the biggest challenge for a lot of businesses is how do you work with the three different generations that are out there in the workforce now? You have your baby boomers, you have your Gen Xers, you have your millennials, and every generation has their own concerns. The millennials are known for wanting to make a difference in the world, wanting to do something that has a meaning. Your baby boomers they basically want to see your ass work, excuse me. Anyway, so they want loyalty, they want commitment. What do the other generations want? They may be similar in a way, but they are different, and how those principles are exercised in the workforce may look different. However, I think that it's going to be the role of the employer to really um, integrate different technology, different maybe structures. I know we had talked about in the past about even leadership structures. How do you manifest that, and how do you integrate that with the different generations? I think each industry is going to have to be creative in their approach based on their own um, company cultures and their workforce needs and whatnot. What are your thoughts, Edwin?
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think with the the multi-generational workforce, I think that's adding some really creative ways to do business, as well as it does offer some kind of challenges because the boomers need to work with the Gen Xers, and the Gen Xers need to work with the millennials. So I think I think those are some of the issues that we're taking care of. Culturally, we're trying to figure that out. But once we figure that culturally, how we have this symbiotic relationship, we could use experience from the boomers and the Gen Xers and mold it with the technology and the new way of thinking from the millennials. And I think once we look at both of those strengths, who knows? The sky's the limit, and I think the economy will thrive even more than it's doing right now.
Right. Well, one of the arguments is regarding traditional full-time employment. Some say that it will become the thing of the past. Do you think traditional full-time employment will become the thing of the past? The traditional 40-hour work week, the traditional structure of the work week?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, everything's already changing. Not only culturally are we seeing the generations, having different priorities, but because of things that are that we didn't address, that we didn't have problems before, like COVID and all these health mandates. I think we're seeing a different shift in priority. So culturally, we're figuring what to do, and it's just interesting how things are starting to to work itself out. And again, I think that's a great trend that we need to pay attention. That shifting talent pool and the employee experience. That's who knows where it's going to go at, but I think it's going to be really interesting to look at during 2022.
I agree. I think that's going to be one of the biggest trends that that's going to make a big impact on the different industries. All right, so let's go to trend number 4, flatter, more agile organizations. Okay, what does that mean? Traditionally companies, especially larger corporations, have had a very structured, hierarchical, rigid structure. You've had your president, your vice presidents, and everybody else on the bottom. But what does that look like to have a more agile organization? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we are a faster sales cycle. We are a 24-hour consumer now, it's not just 24-hour news. It's 24-hour food. It's 24-hour clothing. It's 24-hour, shopping for furniture. So, with that, you know, companies have to be more agile. We have to think faster. We have to do things faster. We have to get product out. And, so there's a lot of things that a fat, organization that has a heavy, top or a heavy middle, I think it just has, all that has to be compressed, and we just have to figure out that management has to think faster. And in order to think faster, you have to have less, less levels to work. But I think the challenge is, can companies really stay and provide high quality service? Can they provide high quality manufacturing even with a flatter organization? I think they can because of technology.
I think they can too, but they're going to have to rethink. They're going to have to rethink what leadership looks like within their own organizations. One of the biggest challenges that companies have is, you have your chiefs and then you got your Indians, but if you restructure and you go to a flatter business model for leadership, does it mean that there are going to be more chiefs than Indians? Or, and how do you control? How do you maintain quality control when you've got so many people leading and not many people following? But I think that that's going to be a challenge that each industry, and not just industry, but even the culture of each business, even type of business, they'll have to work those challenges out within their own organization. Can it be done? I believe that it can. Should it be done? I think not necessarily should. I think it's going to come to they have to. If they're going to stay in the game, they're going to have to be able to make those changes. So.
Right. And let's look at the fifth trend of 2022 is authenticity. Today's consumers are seeking more meaningful connection with brands, and this need for connection has given the authenticity as a business trend in its own right. So what are your thoughts about how authenticity helps to foster human connections?
Well, first of all, even though that's considered a trend, I believe that that's one of the core characteristics that I believe businesses should, what's the word? That authenticity is important. To me, it's like, why are we bringing this up as a trend? Authenticity should be an important factor of running a business, of who you are and how your brand. Anyway, so I guess the question is how does it look like as a trend in 2020? So, what does that look like? Reliability or empathy, compassion, humility. I think the businesses that are doing well, that are stand the length of time, the what is it, the width of time, what is it, stand the wind, stand the transitions, are the ones that have been authentic. I mean, somebody can make an argue that there's lack of authenticity, but brands such as Coca-Cola, or think of other brands that have really created a brand image of authenticity, or at least perceived as being authentic.
Right. No, I agree with you. Authenticity, is, since the day, since business started, since man walked on earth, authenticity, has been important, because you do business, and you do hang out with people that you like. And if you're not, authentic, people could see right through that. But I think the reason why it's a trend is because you're seeing a lot more, lots of social media is becoming so prevalent. You got TikTok, you got Instagram, you have, YouTube, you have, Facebook, and you have people like me and you using this simple technology of video and displaying to the world. So, people, because there's so much of that, it's not just, an actor being, on a 30-second commercial. Now the authenticity is really important, because now you're interacting with the president, you're interacting with the CEO. And, so I think authenticity, even though it's not really a trend, it's been with us for a long time. it's just heightening more
It's
because of
more
social media.
heightened, right? Well,
Right.
they talked about, we humans, we like to see brands and business leaders display important human qualities like honesty,
Right.
reliability, empathy, compassion, humility. We definitely see that, I don't know if you remember when Toyota has developed a really strong, reliable brand, but they broke that trust when they had that issue with I don't know, with the brakes, was it about 10 years ago? And then they had to
Right.
come
Right.
back and just be vulnerable and just say, look, we screwed up and let's fix it. Toyota still has a strong brand, but you're right. I think the consumer wants to see more of that vulnerability among the leadership and, of companies and brands. And maybe because everyone's kind of scared about where we're going as humanity, with
Right.
the pandemic, and they're fearful right now. And
Right.
so maybe when these companies and these brands show more vulnerability, there's more of a human connection with them, instead of maybe they were like, well, they're human too. They've got their same
Right.
fears and they screw up like the rest of the world. So we like them better. I don't know. Maybe
Right.
maybe
Right.
that's where we're going with this. So
Yeah, well, I'll tell you where it's going. It's going towards trend number 6, which is
okay,
purposeful business.
okay,
Yeah.
that sounds good. So which is also linked to authenticity, right?
Yeah.
So what is this? Purposeful business, ensuring your organization exists to a meaningful purpose. Well, who started that trend is Simon Sinek, who said, what is your why? And I don't know if he started it, but he definitely brought it to the forefront where businesses, entrepreneurs, anybody that was out there serving humanity needed to know what their why was, which is really what their purpose is. And so, you know, before this whole why trend came out, or we had what mission statements, and we had
Right.
purpose statements. I remember when I had my business, which was a learning center, when we developed our website, we were like, well, we need a mission statement, we need a purpose statement. I mean, those terms have been around for a long time. So now what's changed? Why now are we talking about purposeful business when businesses have been talking about their mission statements and their purpose statements for years? What is the difference now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I,
Well,
I think purpose purposeful business is becoming even more heightening. We the past 2.5 years we've been locked down, so a lot of people have been at home, thinking about what they're doing. They're really reevaluating, who they are, what they want to do, and how they want to, live within this community. So I think, going back to authenticity, people, want to see people do things that are like them, or they want to see people act and the same at home as they do at the workplace. And if you don't have a purposeful business, you can't really be authentic. So I think that's, again, social media has really heightened the
I
purposeful
ag-
business.
I agree. I agree with that. So,
Yeah.
all right, that's going to take us to trend number 7, co-opetition and integration. So what in the heck is that? Global businesses are what, working on integrating. What does cooperation and integration look like? What does that
No,
even? Oh,
co-opetition. So
co-opetition.
it's much more than cooperative. It's really, finding who your competitors are and really integrating on how you can work together. And again, because of COVID and because of all this heightened awareness about being at home, having, being authentic, having purpose, it's, how do we have a symbiotic relationship with a whole bunch of things, not only the consumer, not only the environment, but the whole, everything. How does it all work together? Because we're not all competitors. We all need to figure out how we use our partnerships, and that's how we're going to grow as a society.
I agree with you, but let me ask you this. I read an article a couple weeks ago. I think it was who's the gentleman that's on Shark Tank?
Uh,
I forgot what his name is, but he wrote something on LinkedIn that said something about battle or war, that businesses, basically being in business is about
Oh,
war. And
crushing
somebody,
your competition, about the art of war,
not
about the
not necessarily crushing your competition, but that it was a war. And there was someone who took offense to that and said, you got your different personality types. I don't know if you've ever taken PCM, but you've got your harmonizers. We should look. Can we all just get along? Can we just all work together? Um, but when I looked at what he really was saying, it's this: if you're not fighting to be number one, if you're not battling to show the consumer that your product is better or that you offer better service, I mean, you've got what? How many companies out there offering, making what? Peanut butter.
right.
And so how do you differentiate yourself? Is differentiation and being more competitive and maybe offering more value, is that war? I looked at it like this. Competition is a good thing. That's why we have capitalism.
Right.
Capitalism, it brings out the best. You want to become better. You want to become stronger because you want to make sure that your product or your service attracts more of your share of the market. Is that war? And is war and battling wrong? I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I understand this whole thing about co-opetition and integration, but not everyone can be number one. Not every company can be the top dog. You got to have some little dogs down there as well, but it doesn't mean you got to step on them and crush their feet. It's just everyone's fighting for their own market share. So how does that
Yeah,
how,
here's my take on co-opetition and integration.
okay,
Like you mentioned, how many brands of peanut butter do you have? That I remember reading a book one day by Maxwell Gladwell or whoever his
right,
name is, and he wrote a book and he said, there's more than one perfect recipe, or there's more than one perfect thing.
okay,
So what's perfect for you might not be perfect for somebody. So
right,
when I see, and I do this all the time. I work with my competitors. Even though they have business and I have business, and I want as much big as market share, I know I can't service everybody.
right.
And I know some of my other my competitors, I know for a fact they can't work with anybody. So I work closely with them because maybe people that won't work with them, I can work with their clients either with the support of my competitors or without the support of my competitors. I just know that if there is a consumer and I can service them, whether if they can't be serviced by somebody else, I can work with that person to still win that business. So so I don't think about crushing another business, but I see being having a friendly relationship with my competitors,
Right, right.
can benefit me. I don't give them all the secrets, but
All
I
right.
know if there's business to be made by forming these relationships, let's see if we can have a symbiotic relationship.
I think
So
that's a healthy approach. That's a very healthy
yeah,
approach.
yeah.
So
So top or trend number 8, what is it?
new forms of funding. Now, when it comes down to running a business, what do most businesses, especially startups and small businesses, cash flow, cash flow. So what are the new types of forms of funding for a lot of businesses? Well, I mean, the big word or the new word that was coming out maybe about 10 years ago was crowdfunding. What other forms of funding do we have out there that are tickling consumers' ears or is tickling the entrepreneurs' ears to get their businesses going?
Yeah, well, I think you have like this big push for like Bitcoin and new money sources and so forth. I think uh, I think those are really really big trends that we need to pay attention. I remember several years ago when Bitcoin first started coming out. I didn't understand. I still don't understand how they mine and how they do things. But it's part of the this new finance movement that I think we just have to really understand because it's going to be there. It's going to be here,
I
as
agree.
yeah,
I
as
agree.
governments kind of falter with their monetary policy. I think people are going to look towards stability of other methods of payment. And I think,
Well, one of the reasons why Bitcoin and hyperfunding and all that has become popular is that many, as the article mentioned, that are driven by decentralized finance movement. They don't want the government to know every single bit of money that they have,
right.
so um, this one is going to be really interesting with all the blockchain and the forex and all of these other types of what do you call them?
Currency, yeah,
Currencies that are
yeah,
coming up, right? So this one is to be watched. What I wonder is that the more that companies and consumers participate in these types
yeah,
of funding, how that's going to affect the overall economy in each, for each country. That's going to be the question that I have, or how these new forms of funding will affect um, governments, and how will they affect taxes, and how will they, because Uncle
right,
Sam wants his dollar, Uncle Sam
right,
wants his money, and if he can't get it through, directly, the
yeah,
government will try to find a way to get it indirectly. So this one we'll just have to spend time waiting for this to unfold. But these are all the
yeah.
8 trends that are predicted for 2020. We just got into the new year. Well, we're on day what, number 5. So how many more days do we have to take a look at
We
all
have
of
about
this?
360. We have about 360 days
Okay. So we'll
to
talk we'll talk about this midstream or mid-quarter and see what is actually unfolding within this new year. So
Right. Well, I'm really excited about our next podcast and venture. I think we're going to be really helping out entrepreneurs figure out things out. I think we're going to be talking about interesting things that the business community is going to look forward to listening our takes,
I
and so
agree.
as we get along, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think it's going to be great fun. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship. There's a shift in that too, where people know that that is the way to build your dream. Your vision is to become an entrepreneur, to become a business owner. But we also know that there's some challenges that and concerns that people have when running a business. So we'll be able to address all of those, or at least a lot of those topics. We welcome suggestions. You want to hear some some discussions on other topics. We'll bring in other professionals as well that are very well um,
Yeah,
you know
well versed in the different topics what that the business committee is interested in.
right. So this is going to be a great journey for us. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Edwin, for getting this off to a great start. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So stay tuned. We'll probably we're gonna do a lot more testing using Facebook, and the overall product. Once we edit all this stuff, it's gonna be a different feel, different look than just us talking. It's gonna be much faster. So I don't know how many minutes we've been talking for, what, 20 minutes or so. So we're gonna take this 20 minutes and pare it down to 3. So it's gonna
Well,
be
I don't
pretty
know about
interesting.
all that. It's gonna be longer than that, but he's dreaming. But that's okay. We'll just it'll be pared down. That's all you need to
It'll be
say.
it'll be a
So
lot of it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be
all
a lot of
right.
fun. So stick with us, and enjoy the show. If you like it, tell us about it. If tell all your friends. If you hate it, tell all your friends, and maybe they could hate it too. uh, Misery loves company.
All right, you guys.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time. Thank you.
All
All
right,
right.
and look out for more shows about business impacts.
All right.